Hey, what's up, guys? Coming to you here from my bedroom because I don't want to wake the neighbors. And if you're wondering about the whole story behind that, I did record a video about it, but I set it to private because I felt like it was just kind of not very good. And I don't know. I don't know how my neighbors would feel if they saw it or something. So, but the bottom line is I gotta be quiet for my neighbors. And when it's late at night, they can hear my voice. If I'm in my bedroom, I don't think they can. But Um, I just watched Take Shelter, starring Michael Shannon, and it's 2 in the morning. I want to talk about it, and I don't know anyone that's seen it or whatever. And to me, that's always the sign of something that doesn't necessarily mean it's great or anything, but it's something that's worthy of giving a look. Checking out. It's not dismissible. Okay. That said, I think this is actually a pretty great film. A pretty great film about mental illness and specifically schizophrenia, or is it? Well, maybe we'll get into that a little bit, but basically, Michael Shannon is a dad, a husband, and hard worker, like construction guy from small town, middle of fucking nowhere in the middle of the United States, and he starts to have like this feeling that something bad is going to happen, and he's having these terrible dreams, and they always start with a storm, and then the storm drives people crazy and they try to attack him, and he wakes up gasping for air, and very disturbing nightmares, and they kind of linger with him afterwards. So early on he has a dream that the storm starts and his dog, a German shepherd, attacks him and tries to kill him, and that whole day he could feel the pain in his arm afterwards, and he builds like a little house in the backyard for the dog, and he makes the dog stay outside because when he looks at the dog, he's uneasy about the dog around his daughter and this and that. And it gets progressively worse from there. Like the dreams keep building. He starts obsessing about things and, about the storm coming. And he starts adding on to the storm shelter in his backyard, even though, he's refinanced his house a couple times and his daughter needs an implant for she's deaf and they're trying to fix it. And despite all that, he takes another loan to build onto this shelter in his backyard. And the whole time, it's just like I think a very compelling portrait of this guy that's kind of losing his mind, like losing his grip on reality. Um, a little slow paced, but it is a drama, and so I don't really there's going to be slow parts, and I don't hold it against it. It's not like an action film or a thriller. It's just it's a slow building drama, but I was always into it because mostly, well, for one, I like the subject matter, and two, Michael Shannon is great in it. Like he is awesome, and like there's a part where he fucking snaps at this big dinner, and it's riveting. You're like, holy shit, this guy is amazing. And he's amazing even like in the smaller moments, in the subtle moments. And yet again, it's another thing where with the Oscars where you're like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like not nominating this guy, him and Dominic Cooper. I don't. Dominic Cooper is just like, to me, that was a shoe in for best actor, and no, they didn't give it to him. Michael Shannon, he deserved a nomination for this. I think he got one for Revolutionary Road, and he might have won it, but probably not. But what the fuck were they thinking? So he makes the whole trip worth it, whether this is your cup of tea or not. If you like great performances, Michael Shannon is reason enough to see Take Shelter. And besides that, I just I sympathize with the subject matter and I like the subject matter. Um, to me, mental illness is probably one of the scariest things that could happen to you, right up there with dying. I think it's great stuff for horror or like this drama because it's something that's happening to you and it's inside of you and yet you have no control over it and you feel helpless and you know, how can people help you? And I'm someone that I've gone through it. I actually used to have panic attacks and it's like this real thing that's happening to you. Like I remember when I first started getting them, it felt like I was having a heart attack to the point where I went to the emergency room one time. And this is back in the day. This is like 10 years ago. But eventually I got over them. I don't suffer from them anymore. But when I did, they were very real to me, and they came on out of nowhere. It wasn't like I was sitting there stressing about a college test or something. It would just happen. All of a sudden my heart would start beating. I'd feel like I couldn't breathe. I feel like my neck was tightening, and something terrible was going to happen, and I was going to die. And nobody really understood it. Like people don't understand mental illness in that way. Like it's yes, it's in your head, but it's not something you control. It's a chemical problem with your brain. There's something wrong with your brain. It can happen to anybody, and it doesn't have to have a reason. Although I think when I had it, it was partially brought on by a reason. But not to go into the whole thing about me, but I kind of get where they're like. I like that. I sympathize with that subject matter. Because it's like I remember when I was going through it, like my one buddy's like, "Well, you just have road rage." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't have road rage." He's like, "You're always screaming when you're driving." I'm like, "Because they're stupid drivers." That has nothing to do with me feeling like I'm having a heart attack when I go to class, or I'm sitting there in class and nothing's happening. So I kind of like, I just dig that type of subject matter, and I think as material for drama or for horror, mental illness is great, and it's especially in drama, largely untapped, and there's a lot there you could do with it. And it's cool how they do it here, where it's like he has this problem, but he's afraid to tell anybody about it because I think he's crazy, even though he fears he is going crazy because his mom had schizophrenia, and now he's like obsessing about this storm that's coming, and he's building a storm shelter, and you know people knows he's acting weird. His wife knows he's acting weird. His best buddy he works with knows he's acting weird, but he doesn't want to say anything because he doesn't want to admit what's going on. But he does go try to get help. He sees like a family doctor. The guy refers him to somebody. It's some guy like way far away that he can't get to and can't afford. And then he goes to see someone else, and they're just like a counselor. They're like, we really can't do that much. He's not getting the help he needs. And I thought that was cool. Like a cool way. Like he's reaching out for help, but he's not getting it, and things are getting progressively worse. And the worse they get, the more his wife's looking at him like this guy might be dangerous. Like what's going on? And I just really dug it from that perspective, and just the cinematography and the music at parts is really good. And like I said, Michael Shannon's performance is great. Jessica Chastain, his wife, is really good as his wife that's like suddenly very worried and scared for her husband, and possibly scared of him and what he's doing, and she doesn't know what to do. Like she's good in it. um so that's like what it is. It's like this guy, he's progressively getting worse with something, possibly schizophrenia. That's what it seems like to me from what I understand of the disease. Not as severe as you would see, like, or I've seen of people, but this could be the early onset of it. You know, and he only has a couple symptoms. But just a riveting performance from him, and then where it goes, like, and that's the thing is like I don't want to spoil the movie, but I kind of have to talk about the ending a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say what happens at the end, but you might be able to figure it out from what I'm saying. So the whole movie is about mental illness, or this guy who is, possibly has this mental illness and it's getting worse. And then the ending happens, and you're like, what the fuck? What did I just watch? Does it change everything before it? But why? It kind of cheapens like what's already happened, and just by me saying that, you could probably guess it. It's not an unguessable ending, but I think the film is in many ways unforgettable, and it'll leave you wanting to talk about it afterwards. No matter what you think of the ending, no matter what you think of the film as a whole, you're gonna want to talk about it afterwards. And to me, that's one of the best compliments you could give a film, because oftentimes this is not empty entertainment, but oftentimes that's what movies can be. It's just empty. It was fun. It was a good hour and a half. Couple laughs. A couple people got shot. But good films make you want to talk about them afterwards. Great films make you think about them for days or weeks. And I think this might be one of those films. I don't know. But the ending just kind of, it's cool. It's a cool ending. Like, you're like, oh, that's cool. I like that. Nice twist you threw there. But does it really serve the rest of the film? And I don't feel it does. I feel like the ending is not as good as the rest of the film. Like, it's cool ending, but it's not in line with everything we've seen before. Like, I could watch it again and I'll still say, this is what the movie is about, and the ending doesn't fit. Not, oh, the ending changes everything when you watch it again. Oh, it makes sense now. Like, it just, I can't say much more about it without spoiling it too much. And you could probably figure it out from what I'm saying. It's just, I just don't know how I feel about the ending. It's cool, but I think there were better endings to be had. And I think there's a scene shortly before the end, and I won't spoil that either, but it takes place inside the shelter that he's adding on to in their backyard. And it's incredibly tense, and just full of dread. And you're just like, oh no, what's he gonna do? Like, this is terrible. It's scary, and it's frightening, and the music's going. And it's such a great scene that I wish they would have, I wish the film would have went down more that route near the end and stuck with, there's what happens in the shelter. It could have stuck with that and went to much, maybe scarier, more thrilling of a place, but also more true to what the film was about. In my opinion, that's just my opinion on it. If you've seen it, we could talk about it a little more, but don't you think that that would have been better than what they do for the ending? But that said, I mean, you got to see it for the performance by Michael Shannon. And this, not that sense of dread is not just in that one scene. There's a building sense of dread throughout the film, where I was more and more like, this is kind of weirding me out, man. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but this doesn't feel good. Like, it does a very good job of the feeling that Michael Shannon, his character, has in it, of something terrible is gonna happen, and just like this bad feeling of dread. The movie does a very good job of giving you that feeling, which is another just amazing thing to say about this movie. So I don't think it'll be everyone's cup of tea, but I really, really enjoyed Take Shelter. I'm sorry I went on a little rant about, mental illness in the middle there, but that's kind of what the movie's about, so I guess kind of fitting. But, for those reasons, for the sense of dread, the music, cinematography, that performance by Michael Shannon, even Jessica Chastain, she's very good. You got to see it, I think. Just don't go in expecting a thriller, and stick with it. Give it a chance. I think you're gonna like it. If you're a fan of good performances, Michael Shannon, this guy, he needs to be in more stuff. He needs to be in like everything. So, anyways, I think I'm gonna go 4 out of 5 for it. I think it was really close to a 5 out of 5 for me though, and I think it is a pretty great film, and probably would have made my top 10 list if I had seen it at the time. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on Take Shelter, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later, guys.